and again. Mr. John Thornton and his wife have been in there, and a guy named James Hicks, Billy Hicks, been in there, and along with Barbara Martin's husband, Knight, Mr. Knight. They put a lot of hours in there, and it really looks better than what has been done. We kind of talked with them because they're the ones that dedicated themselves to making those improvements. And they have been following along.
Is there any reason council member Hammett cannot chair something like that, a committee or something like that? He's on, I guess, is it a board?
He's liaison.
Liaison.
When I asked Councilman Hammett to do that, if y'all remember that night, he expressed that he didn't really want to do that. So I had been working with him personally on this, and having had a background in the cemetery business myself. But that's fine. He chooses to do that. I know he did speak to that the other night since he was the liaison. And if he chooses to do that, that's more than welcome to have him do it. But I think there needs to be an assessment made of what's needed. And once that assessment is made, then a determination made of what needs to be done and how it can be improved, how it can be corrected. If it takes replacing the fence, then that's the route that you go to get the roof that you want. If not, then clean up, fix what you got. You know, I'd be more than happy for him to, work alongside of it.
Mayor Pro Tem, in this district, togetherness as a team or a body, sometimes can get a lot of these questions answered prior to the council meeting. Together they come up, ask those questions out in public. I don't know, we have not been running by committee, but I'm seeing some in that.
Okay, but I think the idea was to hold off on this until.
That's okay with Councilman Washington. He brought this up. Is that okay?
I was trying to put you doing whenever you speak. I have.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I don't thank Councilman Carter for expecting me to go in my district in my position. And I had asked some time ago, Councilman Hammett, about appointing a couple of people to the committee, but he was very well. And as far as how nice it looked, all the bushes and trees that has been cut. And I went out of office on vacation, got paid like 4, 6 years, 7 years now. At that time, I had done in, and it's really showed if you do your work on a regular basis, like you're supposed to, it wouldn't have grown up like this. It's not the first time, but it has a tendency of not being cut or regular. I went out of office, and all that, we cut and I'm looking, as always, trying to hold down costs. We have gone in there and cleaned weed city the inmates, and it looks great. If we can do all that, let's save a few more $1,000, why we can't take the fence down? And then contract, all you have to do is come in and put the fence up. We have people, I'm looking here at removal of old fence, not including poles. I don't know whether that's $2 per feet on the last page on the Utah Fence Company. If you look on the parentheses, why we can't take the fence down? We have the inmates did all the other work along a couple of employees that cut bushes. Why we can't take the fence down? We can save some more money. And it's here on the total cost for the chain link fence, is that $16,500? Yes, and then the iron, which Councilman Hammett wants, which I said is fine with me. I was trying to make the old cemetery look good from Martin Luther King side of the highway, as well as in front of my church and the residents on our Sept Street there. And here's a quote here for $16,500. So every dollar saved is what we're about. We're supposed to do watching taxpayers' dollars. Why we can't take the fence down from there?
Well, I think if a decision was made that that's what the council agreed to do was to replace the fence, then it would be a time that you would have to address who's gonna take the fence down. But at this point in time, the decision has not been made, and it's been asked to wait until the councilman is back in his position that he can have input on this.
Thank you.
All right, and the next, yeah, let's go back to the West Side Infrastructure Project. What are you asking me, Dennis?
To give the update on the redistricting map, I'm sorry. And we got to get that work in either now or stay a few minutes after the meeting and do it. So,
Okay,
but
Bill,
y'all
Mr.
can
Tucker, why
decide.
don't y'all go ahead?
I'm sorry.
Appreciate y'all letting us be back again tonight to go over these options we have for you. In our last work session, some questions were raised regarding Councilman Washington's district. With a simple desire to just look at some other alternatives. Reg has worked hard to develop these up through our GIS system, and what we've come up with are exactly what we talked about the other day. That any change we make to that initial proposal has a mushroom effect on some of the other proposed districts. And with that said, it causes one to get out of the percentage needed to stay within the confines of what justice is going to approve for the city. And then secondly, it causes a disproportionate change in the minority makeup of Mr. Washington's district. So with that said, let me show you what we have real quick, and we'll go from there. In review, as you remember, alternative one was simply a look at the existing council districts versus the new census numbers. What that showed us was simply that the city does indeed have to go through a redistricting process. Alternative two is the alternative we presented to you as one we felt was most practical for the city based on the new numbers. In that alternative, the only question that really arose, Mr. Washington, you raised regarding the apartment complex adjacent to Highway 14 across the river from what would be the former council district, District 2. With that said, it shows that in alternative 2, and you can see what the percentages were in the summary. We had a deviation percent change that was within the confines of what justice required, of course, less than 10%. And the minority makeup of Council District 2 was 60.09%, well over the majority needed to be a majority minority district. Now with it tonight, you've got another alternative. Red, you come around here. These are yours, you may want to explain more than mine. Alternative 3 is another look at a similar layout of districts with the exception of moving the apartment complex that was in question, Mr. Washington, out of your district like it was before. What we did was we took that and then showed how it would have an impact on the other districts as well as yours, and the numbers are reflected on the chart. This map is a rather large version of that. It may be easier for you to look at. You're certainly welcome to do it, but I think you do have, again, alternative number 3 in your packet. As you can see, we put the apartment complex back into District 4. In District 4, what that did then was increase the population to 1,418, 297, or 23.22% deviation, well over the 10% deviation allowed by justice. Also, the change it made to District 2 was that it maintained a pretty good minority percentage, actually slightly higher, 71.13%, but the deviation became 21% in lieu of the 10% maximum. So you see what an impact it has when you start shifting that around. It actually has a mushroom effect, as I said, on the other districts. Raise anything you'd like